So this year we're taking a slightly different approach, and instead of doing one large piece of national research at the end of the academic year, we're now breaking our research up into three sort of subsections, with a different report being released at the end of each term. So last term, our focus was on pupil disadvantage and how different types of disadvantage can feed in to affecting pupil wellbeing and learning. This term, which is what I'll talk to you about, we are focusing on reading and how, what, why, what they read, etc., with someone, how all of that feeds into influencing people's well-being and learning. And then next term, we're going to be sending out a wellbeing survey to staff, and we're going to be exploring the potential relationship between staff wellbeing and pupil wellbeing, which I think I think they're all very interesting, but I think that one will be, I think they're all interesting, but I think that one will be very interesting too. So I'll just briefly talk to you a little bit about the findings from our last term's report. So we actually found that pupils with SEND needs and who were eligible for pupil premium scored consistently lower on wellbeing measures and learning measures relating to metacognition and wellbeing and anxiety. So there were different associations of disadvantage that fed into these scores. We also found that there was quite a difference in the genders, and that female pupils had much lower wellbeing levels and much higher anxiety levels than their male peers. Quite interestingly, though, these gaps or these differences between the genders weren't reflected in our learning measures. So in metacognition, for example, the differences were not that stark. We also found that if pupils were in a transition year or an exam year, their wellbeing levels were lower than the year below. So actually year 13, year 10 and year 6 had lower wellbeing scores than the academic years just one year below. So lastly, we found some quite interesting interactions of different elements of disadvantage. And whilst pupil premium eligibility is a really useful proxy for determining disadvantage, actually we found that when you look under the surface, there were lots of different things going on. So for example, we asked pupils whether they have access to a garden or an outdoor space. And we found that there was a notable wellbeing gap between the pupils that had a quiet space to work and those without, and those that had a garden or an outdoor space and those without. So our conclusions from that was that actually disadvantage comes in lots of different forms.